The WNBA, they're handling another loss. Reported $50 million in the hole. They've been a league now for 28 years, WNBA. They've never turned a profit. Owned by the NBA, subsidized by the league. And Adam Silver said back in 2018, but yeah, we've lost at least $10 million per year over the duration of the entire league's existence. Chad, that's all about to change in some way, form, or fashion. I was with Dan Dakich this morning on Don't At Me. And while they're expected to lose $50 million this season with the popularity bump, the NBA right now is negotiating their rights, their media rights. And they're about to jump in a massive way, going from $60 million allocated to them per year for their media rights to what could be, some report, at $180 million. So they're about to not just double, but triple what they were making. And the NBA is negotiating that. They negotiate it, and then they determine it according to all of the media insiders. Not the network, but the league, because it's all lumped in, and then the league will determine the value of that allotment of programming for said networks. So the league and Adam Silver will end up getting credit for turning a profit with the WNBA. And, well, not even Caitlin Clark could do that, Chad. But if you look at the timeline from when she entered the league in April, I think it was April or May draft, May, to the start of the fiscal year, next year will be extremely positive this time of year when they announce that not only have they turned a profit, they've done that in an exponential way.
It's why I can't help but just giggle a little bit. Giggle's a bad one. I don't know if I giggle a lot. I laugh a little bit on the inside.
I don't know if I've ever heard you giggle.
When I hear about, I can giggle. If you get the right thing,
no,
you
only
gig me.
Only when you give me the Keith Bullock laugh.
I can
that's
I can giggle too. Like Gig-a-Maggies, you can gig me and I can giggle a little bit, but not often. But I do. I giggle.
Chad will be your yell leader.
I giggle a little bit. I'll be your clown. I'll be your yell leader. I'll look like a milkman and give very bad jokes out in front of 100,000 people. I'll do whatever you want. And I will giggle at times. And I do giggle when I hear Monica McNutt and others talk about paying this homage and having to hold WNBA players in this reverential status when you enter the league. And I want to talk about the women who built this league into a $50 million a year loss leader for a company. It's a company that's not financially solvent. It's a league that's not solvent. So I don't want to discredit the work that's been put in by the women that play basketball in the WNBA. They work hard. They're very good basketball players. They're good athletes. But when you talk about building something, you talk about paying homage to Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, who helped turn the NBA into a laughingstock that their finals was aired in tape delay at 2 a.m., into a juggernaut into the 90s, where it was as big or bigger than the NFL during that time period. You pay honor to those that built nothing into something. You can like Jerry Jones or hate him, but Jerry Jones, in his time with the Cowboys, it's amazing to see the financial growth of that organization during that time. I can't do backflips for the WNBA when I see the losses that they are causing the NBA year after year. They have been subsidized. They're about to be a benefit to the NBA. They're about to be a benefit to the sports landscape also, because people are now paying attention and they want to watch WNBA games in large part because of Caitlin Clark. So that's good news for the WNBA. But I don't want to spend too much time honoring all the bad news from every year before.
Well, it's not all bad. So here's what has really gone on. They if you look at just by year profit loss, in 2018, they were earning, their revenue was $60 million. They're getting that in their media rights package right now. They lost $12 million in 2017. They earned $200 million in 2023 compared to $60 million in 2018. Now,
That they were still down.
why were they down? Because Brittany Griner demanded that she fly charter. And guess what happened? They all flew charter. She was approved. That was the league approval. You want to start having the private planes for teams. I mean, having been on and traveling charter with teams, it's roughly $250,000 to $300,000 per trip for the teams, and the owners eat that cost within the league. If you want to travel to Nashville, if you're the Seattle Seahawks, to play here early, which they're going to do for a joint practice, the Seahawks will be paying that freight, not the Titans. Roughly $300,000. Now, if you're going to add all this up and you want to expand, you want to do different things for the league and marketing, that's all great. But for an estimate of $200 million in profit in 2023, imagine what they're going to do now and what the NBA is going to, the small sliver, $2.7 billion is their media rights package right now annually. WNBA is getting $60 million. The NBA owns the league, so they can allot whatever they want. But not only will they want to allot more just based on the popularity, you want to allot more because the next time you negotiate, if the WNBA still wants to be a part of this package, and by the way, they are owned by the NBA, so I don't know how they determine that they don't want to be and they just branch off. Wouldn't you prop it up even more in value? Even you would overestimate the value to make it better in your case to then negotiate the next time around, would you not? Like, I'm trying to think about if you're a city and you want an expansion franchise. Okay, what's the value of the league overall? Well, you may want to say that the media rights package is a bigger percentage than what they're getting, right, Chad?
Yeah.
Because then the value of the team is more, or the value of selling a team is more. If you just want to sell a team to a new owner, or again, just negotiating things. They expect to have a CBA in place by next season as well. So that plays a factor in how you divvy up the revenue. There's a lot of different things playing into it. But, I mean, if you want to see where the cost went and what they're spending money on, it's on the charter planes from last year, where she didn't get it at first in Phoenix, and then she was approved shortly thereafter for the charter plane.
Well, I hope it's something that eventually makes money or at least breaks even. That's good for everyone in the WNBA. So that's my hope moving forward, that it'll happen.
I guess what
Caitlin Clark is going to be the biggest reason why.
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely. And, I mean, they're about to go, the NBA is about to go from $2.7 billion to around $7 billion in these media rights deals. That's the estimate from the media columnists. Name one. They've all said it.
We'll see if they actually get that. But if so, then that's going to be huge.
And that's been the number that's been thrown out there. And that's the one. Adam Silver has a number in mind. And the thought was, even if TNT and Turner came back and said, we're going to match that he would still branch off and do this because he wants to be on Amazon and the streaming services. We'll see. But Silver's going to end up getting the credit for this, even though 2018 he's saying the opposite, right? Yeah, but we've lost money each time. He's going to be asked about it more and more now too, and they will fly the flag of, look what we've done. We have a monster now, a behemoth.
I don't. We talking NBA or WNBA now with monster or behemoth?
I mean, $7 billion from 2.7 is crazy.
It's crazy. I don't understand.
But I mean, I can't sit here and mock them for it.
Yeah, none of it makes sense to me. No, it's even makes it more impressive that they've been able to pull this Houdini act over these media companies and get this much money out of it. It's incredible. Even Meta World Peace, who was on Coach Meta on with us yesterday, says, what's the problem with the NBA right now? They need to pay more respect to their fans. They need to show up and play like they care that they're an all-star. They need to play better, play harder, connect with fans. And he says, look, I'm a basketball fan. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to keep watching it. These guys are great that are playing the game today, but we've talked about it a ton on this show. It doesn't feel like they respect those that pay for tickets, that go to games, that watch their games on TV at times, and that's a shame.
Yep. How many teams? There are 12 teams right now?
In the WNBA now.
Yeah.
We're going back to that?
Yeah. They're about to expand to 14.
Okay.
Is that smart?
No. No, it's not.
Yeah. They're about to expand to 14.
They should contract.
And
if you're losing money, you should contract and then see if you can make the pieces of the less pieces of the pie to go around and work down that deficit that you're at.
Yeah.
You should not expand.
Chad, Dan Dakich, don't at me. This morning, Dan Patrick joined him, and
Two Dans. One cup. Kidding.
And one Caitlin Clark discussion.
Whenever it starts with two something, you always got to go to that.
You're right.
Yeah,
well, now I'm going to be thinking
that
about
would have
this.
been a ratings juggernaut.
The entire show now I'll be thinking about this.
Man. OutKick really missed the boat on that one. Possibilities.
What an algorithm.
Gosh. Would have hit all the algorithms.
Yes.
Have you seen what makes money on the internet, by the way? That's going to be the next suggestion. Have you guys seen
whatever happened to those two?
You see where most people go on the internet when they're there, when they're surfing? Man, we got to tap into that market.
What happened to that duo?
That's a good question. Good question. Two Dans is a good name for a show. Just ending it there, too.
Here's Dan
those guys
and Dan.
would do a good show together, and all joking aside, they're both excellent.
Dan and Dan discussing Caitlin Clark being left off the USA roster.
DP, in my town, Indy, Caitlin Clark is all the rage. She's not on the Olympic team. The world exploded. It's one of the rare things I can kind of see both sides, but if you want to grow the game, she's got to be involved. If I'm NBC, I'm hiring Caitlin Clark as an analyst. Where are you at with the whole Caitlin Clark saga?
Well, we were the first national interview she ever did at Iowa. And because I don't have a life and I'm watching any kind of basketball. And I said, when I watched her over a weekend, I said, we got to get her on. She's Steph Curry. She's unbelievable. And, we've had her on a couple of times since then. And, certainly what she's done with college basketball. And I've been a huge fan of hers. The style, fun, it's different. But I don't think she's one of the 12 best players right now in the WNBA. Now, when you say grow the game, she's not going to grow the game if she's just on the team because she'll be sitting. So let's say she's the 12th best player. How much playing time is she going to get? And is that really growing the game? From a marketing perspective, I would have her on the team, but I think you got to be fair to the other players. And if you're going to put her on, who are you taking off? And I do think that there's probably going to be maybe two players who aren't able to play due to injuries, and maybe she gets a chance to be on the team. I just don't know if she's going to play that much, Dan. And has she grown the WNBA? Exponentially. Unbelievable. Transcendent. But I've watched every one of her games. Games, not highlights. And she's worn down. And I see her struggle. What she did at Iowa against competition, you can't get away with here. Are they physical? Yes, but they watch the You have a lot of people who are novices who now want to be experts. They haven't watched the WNBA. And then they watch and they go, oh, my God, they're physical. Yes, they are physical. And, she has to adapt to that. I talked to Reggie Miller today, and I said, look, you have a slight build. What did you have to do? He goes, after my rookie year, I knew I had to bulk up. I just couldn't. He said, Michael Jordan bulked up to take on the Pistons. He goes, I couldn't do that. I think Caitlin could use a break and then allow her to exhale. She's carried college basketball. She has brought so many eyeballs to the WNBA. I think she could use it, rest, and then come back after what she's learned. And hopefully we get to see a little bit more of what we saw at Iowa instead of what we've seen so far in the first, 6 weeks of this season.
The break is a great point. And I like Dan's thoughts on bringing her on for the analyst role. The problem with that, Chad, that I have is, well, if Team USA isn't bringing her on for the ratings, and we like that, why do I want the analysis to be good, not popular. She's not going to say a bad thing about any of those players who are talking crap about her, and she remains inside. So all of a sudden, she's going to be critical? No. There wouldn't be a bad thing said in a broadcast by her.
First things first, Dan Patrick, world-class broadcaster. Really good. Huge fan of his.
And he's retiring.
Very professional, way more professional than the two of us, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He's terrific. So I love hearing the sound of his voice kind of work through that. I really struggle with this. I really do. This whole question of Caitlin Clark and is USA Basketball wrong for doing this? is it their responsibility to grow the game? Dan put that in his, and I made note of that. If you're trying to grow the game, you want the biggest superstar in the game to be a part of it on the global stage. I agree with that. I don't. Here's where I come at this, though. Is it USA Basketball's job to grow the game of basketball internationally? Are they some sort of ambassadorship to make sure that countries in Asia are getting better at women's basketball, or that countries in the Middle East are better, or that European countries are taking the next step towards maybe global domination one day or winning a gold? Or is it the United States of America's responsibility as Team USA Basketball to win the damn gold medal and continue doing it like they have, 6 straight? Something like that?
Yep.
5, 6 in a row. They're going for 7 straight gold medals. I think it's the responsibility to win the gold medal and put the best team on the court. Now, does the best team mean 1 through 12? Here are the best 12 players in the world. Here are the best 2-point guards. Here are the best 3 shooting guards. Here are the best 3 small forwards. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think you have to form a team. You got to have players that complement each other. You got to have a team of 12 players where everyone's skill set, abilities, weaknesses, everything complements everyone to a team. That's on a general manager to make those decisions and a coach to put the right team on the court. USA Basketball is saying Caitlin Clark is not right for this team. I have to respect their opinion on that, because I would sound like an idiot if I went 1 through 12 in this roster and tried to rank if they're better than someone else left off, they're better than other girls. I don't know. Other women on the team, I should say. Don't know. I don't watch it enough to really know. I respect their opinion to know the best combination of 12 players that they could put on the team together. Here's ultimately what I would love to get to in all of this. I would love to be in a position as Americans to watch the Olympic Games and support Team USA and our women's basketball team and every team representing the United States of America, because it's the Summer Olympics and it only happens once every 4 years, and it's what we do as patriots. We root on our country, regardless if we disagree with them, if we don't like decisions made by the team, whatever. We're going to root for them because it's America versus the world. I'd love to be able to say that and do that and know that the ratings are going to be great and that we're going to watch it. I also live in reality, and I know that less of you are going to watch the Summer Olympics, the women's basketball portion of it, because Caitlin Clark isn't playing a lot for that team. So I understand that part of it too. So Hutton, I'm a little bit torn. I fall on the side of they should get the 12 best players that complement each other for that team. And if Caitlin Clark's not one of those 12, I'm fine with it. So be it. That's their decision. We can move on and root them on to a gold medal. I also understand I've got a lot more interest in it, and everyone does if Caitlin Clark is a part of it.
Well, I'm not interested to watch her set the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to argue she's one of the best 12, okay, she's not a starter. And if you're going to put her on for the reasons of ratings, you put her on the floor. And if they're saying she's not one of the best to be on the roster, period, I don't want, just for the sake of ratings, I'd rather watch Caitlin Clark than watch USA lose the gold medal. Just hypothetically. Because they're saying this is the gold medal team, and this is the gold medal standard. I also don't understand this. And Dan, I think, was going at the point of growing the game internationally. Chad, what you said.
Yeah.
Those that say, oh, grow the game, they're looking at it from ratings. Grow the game with ratings, more popularity, more money. Well, which is it? Do you want to grow the game and then watch the league that you're mocking succeed and throw it back in your face? Or do you not want to grow the game and ratings-wise and continue to allow yourself to point and laugh and mock the league that isn't turning a profit, that doesn't bring in ratings without Caitlin Clark, and that is all LGBTQ plus and Black Lives Matter? Which one is it? If you want to grow the ratings, okay. But when they have success because Caitlin Clark's on, everyone else is going to reap the benefit of that. And the same headlines, the regurgitated thought process continues, where Caitlin's not going to say anything. No one's going to say anything bad on the road to another gold medal. And 2 weeks later, what did it mean? I mean, there's more popularity for the league that you're pointing at and mocking. So I'd like to understand, if you really want to see success, will you treat it as success? Or is it just about the Olympics? Screw the Olympics. I just want to watch Caitlin Clark sit the bench. I practice what you preach if you want that. That's all I'm saying.
I am 1,000% with you on this, and it's getting to the gist of my main point I'm trying to make with all this. Let's all watch the Olympics because it's the United States versus the world, and let's cheer on the American representatives that are out there competing for gold medals for our countries. I got into this with the World Cup with the U.S. women's national team, right?
Yeah.
There were a lot of people rooting against them, and I understand some of that sentiment. But those things have a tendency to just snowball and go downhill. And now what we're going to have, and I can go ahead and I'll tell you the future right now. First time U.S. women's national team struggles, the women's basketball team.
Yeah.
At the Olympics, they could be down at halftime to someone, whatever. Half of America is going to celebrate that because they didn't take Caitlin Clark. Websites are going to point out, look at this failing women's national team, the U.S., that snubbed Caitlin Clark, and they're reaping what they sow now. They're going to cheer on whatever the hell country they're playing. Croatia. I don't know who's in the tournament. France. They're going to become big fans of the French all of a sudden and root against them over the United States of America because they disagree with that whole deal. That kills me. That kills me. I understand that division sells. I don't care personally. When it comes to the Olympics, if you put on the red, white, and blue, and here's where I'm going to go, Mr. Patriot, on this, because being Mr. Patriot also tends to sell. When you plaster your face on something and talk about commandos killing people or whatever, that seems to be something that generates stuff. This is me being Mr. Patriot. I want the United States to do well. Is that a controversial hot take? No. I want them to do well with Caitlin Clark or without Caitlin Clark. Don't care. I want them to dominate the rest of the world because I'm an American and I'm proud of the country and I'm going to root for them against all other countries all over the world. I'm all red, white, and blue, baby, when it comes to this. And I'm going to watch the Olympics regardless if I agree or disagree with the participants competing in any sporting event. And I'm going to root against every other country in the world when they're playing against them.
So what I would say is,
but I'm not,
and you're right.
But I'm an outlier here. I really am the outlier on this one, and I know it.
Well, the snowball effect with the Team USA for women's soccer. The Sun came out because I haven't talked about them since they were competing. You know what I mean? Like I don't know and don't care what they're up to right now, quite frankly. Instead of someone who isn't on the team, which is exactly going to be the argument, Chad. There's going to be a mystery. How about what about the others on the bench that could have been in that coach didn't put in? Chelsea Gray's injured. You know? Like, whatever. And that Chelsea Gray, by the way, been lifted on the injury chart I saw today to questionable. Can't believe I'm getting the injury update there. But she's the potential spot for Caitlin Clark. Chelsea Gray, the guard who hasn't played since the WNBA finals that no one watched a year ago because they play the finals during the NFL football season.
And because it's the WNBA finals and we don't care.
And two of the games went head-to-head on Sundays with the NFL.
Yeah.
But the point being, and you're right, point being, again, I mean, if you're going to do it for the popularity's sake, do it. But, I mean, I want it to be good.
I want it to be pure.
And
I wish it was pure. It's not. Dave, you brought up an interesting example where it's not pure, but not everyone was talking about it because this person was not of the caliber, not as a player, but as a popularity figure at the time as Caitlin Clark. Candace Parker got snubbed from an Olympic team because Gino Auriemma doesn't like Pat Summitt players.
Well, the only time I've heard her
and
name,
she was the MVP of the WNBA and a champion. Yeah,
the final MVP or whatever, right?
Yeah. And that was wrong too, but that was more of a personal issue with coach and player, with Gino coaching the team. But I don't want to see that. I truly, this may be an altruistic view of what I want, but I think it is your responsibility if you're the general manager of USA Basketball to full faith, being intellectually honest, plan a team that's the best to represent the United States of America on the court in international competition to win it. And that is not necessarily 1 through 12 best in the world. It could be those that complement each other well also. Here's another conspiracy theory I'll throw out there that I kind of buy into with Caitlin Clark. Again, I don't know if she's one of the 12 best in the world. I don't know if her skill set would complement others or not. So I'll put that out there beforehand. Feels a little bit like Isaiah Thomas in 92 with the Dream Team, in that the way we've seen the league respond to her popularity, and they haven't been very quiet about it. They've been outspoken about how it irritates them and how they think that she's getting way too much praise for not being a great player yet, and they want to rough her up a bit, which is some of that is just rookie stuff across any sport, but there's a lot more to it than that. It makes me think that USA Basketball knew the other players in this team weren't going to like her, and they were going to be jealous of her spotlight if she's a part of this Olympic team, even though she's sitting the bench.
Well,
and that everyone would be talking about her and not the team, and that could cause division. It's the same way Tony Vitello joined our show and said, we lost one of our top players because there was a false report a guy was making $250,000 and he wasn't, and someone bought that false report and left because they felt slighted. They felt like they weren't getting the love they should get, so they left. So maybe it's USA Basketball making a concerted effort and decision to say, you know what? It's going to cause problems in the locker room. And that's not even necessarily her fault. It's just the aura and spotlight she brings is going to be a distraction and a problem.
Or they just knew that she's not one of the top players right now.
That too. But I'm throwing that out there as a possible element in this, that it's just not worth it if you know that you can put this team together and go and dominate and win another gold.
Yeah, but so the flip side of that is I don't know the roster by heart. I know Diana Taurasi has said you got to earn your stripes and do all this stuff before she even entered the league. Caitlin Clark entered the league. Diana Taurasi said in April this. I just really know of 2 or 3 WNBA players who are talking a lot of trash. I don't think they're on this roster either. About Caitlin Clark.
Well, there's more than that. There are others.
They may be fouling her hard, but I mean,
but
the Team USA
Stewart,
also went at it in practice.
Right, Brianna Stewart. There's a lot of criticism of her game in her. Some more hurtful than others. But I know, like, Brianna Stewart has said some stuff.
Sure.
About what her thing was. She can't be considered one of the greatest because she hasn't won a national title. Remember, and I'm thinking, well, that's easy to say when you're playing for Gino Auriemma and you've got an all-star team at UConn and you're winning multiple national titles there, and she's not.
Well, she's not one of the greatest, but she's one of the greatest for Team USA this year, if that were the case.
Well, she's saying greatest all time.
I know,
Remember the debate was about that in college.
You could have the argument of that and still say she's worthy of being on the team and she's going to help us win. Somebody's got to. The argument is she's taking my spot in the starting lineup.
Right.
I don't think it's because of controversy in the locker room. Has Brittany Griner said anything about this?
No. I'm
just
floating
curious.
this out there as I don't think that they have a personal problem with Caitlin Clark. I don't think she's done anything. Let's compare it to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas got blackballed from the 92 Dream Team because he walked off the court with the rest of the Pistons and would not shake Michael Jordan's hand at the end of the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals when the Bulls finally broke through and beat them after 3 losses to the Pistons in the playoffs. Jordan hated him.
And Jordan blackballed him.
Jordan did, but Jordan claims
it, but I haven't heard Barkley say anything.
And I got the quote.
That it was the team.
He says the Dream Team, this was in The Last Dance, he said this. The Dream Team, based on the environment and the camaraderie that happened on that team, it was the best harmony with those guys. Would Isaiah have made a different feeling on the team? Yes. So that's Jordan saying it. He talked about it in that too. He said, I wasn't the only one who had an issue. But if you remember, Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas just got back together recently in an interview for NBA TV. Magic hated him. Larry Bird hated him. Almost everyone on that team that mattered hated Isaiah Thomas too. That was Jordan's point. And he admitted, was I the most vocal about it in talking about it and telling Rod Thorne, hey, if he's on the team, I'm probably not going to be a part of it? Yeah. But he was echoing the thoughts of everyone that it was going to change the dynamic of the locker room if Isaiah was around. Now flip that to Caitlin Clark. It's not because of anything she's done. She has not disrespected an opponent. She's not walked off the court winning a playoff series and pissed off Brianna Stewart or some other legendary women's basketball player. It's the fact that she gets all the attention. And These women are jealous about it. And if you get to Paris and all the talk is about the 12th player on the roster that's playing 4 minutes a game, maybe it's USA Basketball saying it's not worth the drama it's going to cause, even if it's not her fault.
I just think it's way too is it not worth the drama it's causing for the WNBA to have her in the league?
Well, the WNBA isn't responsible for one country going to win a gold medal.
Well, I mean,
they're over 12 teams. So if the Indiana Fever wants to take her to try to win a title with the Indiana Fever, that's not their issue.
But I thought you just said that you have to take their word for it that they're trying to win gold, which they've done over and over and over again.
Yeah, of course.
So I lean on the fact that they view it like that. Everybody that's come on the show, every clip we've played, they all say the same thing. She's not one of the top. They're looking at it through the lens of ratings. And we praised them earlier this week for thank God they didn't.
Yeah, and trying to win the gold, they're also saying, hey, even if she was one of the 12 best, or her as a shooter could be good on the team, it's not worth it because we're trying to get the best team camaraderie.
Draymond Green is knocking fools out in practice and nut-shotting people in the court, and he's on Team USA.
Well, let me ask you
because
this.
it's good for the team.
Do you think women on that team would be jealous and would have an issue with the attention she would get as the last player on that team if they got over
I
there?
am sure there are teammates of hers in Indiana who are jealous.
I don't think any of her teammates like her.
And I think they pass her the basketball, and she scores every now and then. So, I mean, she's still on a team that features women probably who are jealous of her. And they're not saying, hey, it's her or me.
I don't think they're saying it's her or me. And I'm not saying she's one of the 12 best. I'm saying that if it was a tie, that there are possibly women on that team who would say.
And who has the pull of LeBron or Jordan on that team?
Probably who's the one is it Taurasi? That's
Diana's won like 12 gold medals. Or something.
And by the way, Diana Taurasi.
But again, like she doesn't have that pull to say it's her or me.
No, not to say it's her or me. I'm not saying
Sue
anyone.
Bird back in the day.
Again, I'm not saying that anyone said. By the way, Diana Taurasi. This kind of pisses me off too. Didn't she say that she had to earn it to go to the Olympics?
I don't know if she said that. She said she had to earn it when she got to the league, based on what she did at UConn.
Well, Diana Taurasi was a rookie when she went to her first Olympics. She was the same spot as Caitlin Clark, so she had not earned anything in the WNBA yet either.
And
there are the 2004 Olympics.
And there are how many newcomers on this roster? I know you mentioned that earlier. Was 6 returning players?
There is like 7, I think, of the 12
of the new players.
Yeah, I believe that.
I bet there's some rookies on there.
I believe. I'm not saying this for a fact. I'm saying there is a chance that USA Basketball is saying we're going to have the most harmony and camaraderie, like Jordan said, if it's these 12 and we don't have to deal with anyone bitching or complaining about Caitlin Clark, this little diva princess that they all think that she is, and all the attention she's getting, and we'll go over there and dominate. Do I think they dominate with Caitlin Clark as the 12th player on the roster? Yes. As the 12th woman on the roster, they would also do that.
Where was this drama in college? If you're going to say it's always going to stir the pot and stir up it, where was the drama throughout the college basketball seasons other than Angel Reese one-on-one? Where was the jealousy and the cheap shots? That to me is also, didn't factor into her being the all-time scorer.
Well, none of those women are on this team. None of the women in college basketball, I'm saying, are on this team of this past season. Is there a rookie that's on it?
No, I'm saying the mentality. I'm sure there is a rookie on there. If there's 7 newcomers, I don't know how many. I mean, Chad, you're asking me the name of the roster right now. I can't do that.
Yeah,
But the mentality is what I'm saying. We know that Kennedy Carter's not on the team, and she had the mentality to go up and take a shot at a player who also talks trash on the other end of the floor. I didn't see that in college. I saw flopping in college. See that too in the WNBA. But I don't see the same mentality. So I can give you examples of where it doesn't spread throughout the jealousy may be a factor, but it's not to a point where one player can play the role of I'm the GOAT, everyone draft either my son or you must keep Isaiah Thomas off the roster.
You're confusing me for saying that I think it's exactly like
you're
Isaiah
confusing
Thomas.
me for saying that I'm not saying that there were women on there that were jealous of her, but it's not going to keep them from putting her on the roster. Just ask the Indiana Fever.
Yeah. What I'm saying, though, is she's not Isaiah Thomas, in that Isaiah Thomas is the best point guard for that team and the best point guard in the NBA in 1992
and Taurasi's
with
not
Magic
Jordan.
where he was in his career. Caitlin Clark is not Isaiah Thomas. She's not. I don't know for a fact, but I'm going to go with what all these women's basketball experts are saying. She's not one of the 12 best players in the world.
But if it was about best for the team and keeping her off, if she was Isaiah Thomas, she would still be off because Taurasi would be Jordan.
And I was the first one here to raise my hand and say, yes, give me the 12 best players. I don't want Caitlin Clark if she's not one of the 12 best players. I'm saying for the argument, and Dan brought this up with Dan Patrick, for the argument of if you want to grow the game, you put her on the team to get ratings. Or, boy, NBC's going to miss out on ratings because they don't have her on there. My point is, if there was ever a consideration by USA Basketball to say, boy, we got this special interest bug in Caitlin Clark, we maybe should consider having her on a team, would it ever cross the mind of a GM to say to themselves, would that cause jealousy issues in the locker room if we included her, even if we don't think she's one of the best 12? And my answer to that is yes. Did it happen? Don't know. Is it possible? Absolutely. That was one of the many considerations. The biggest one, though, being she's not one of the best 12, and that's why she shouldn't be on the team if she is.
Right, and that's it. Like, let's just compare it to Caitlin Clark, not one of the best on for that roster. Bronny James isn't either. And the reaction is going to be, well, the best player told us to take the guy, so we're going to do it. To have the Isaiah Thomas example, you have to have the Jordan or LeBron. And I don't think there's that dynamic at all at play here from the WNBA perspective. In fact, they're admitting it by being so jealous that the Jordan or LeBron in popularity is left off the roster.
Hutton, you're being way too literal here with what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's identical to Isaiah Thomas.
Not everything, though, has to be this grand conspiracy that you set up.
No one on the team liked Isaiah Thomas. So they thought for team camaraderie, we're going to keep him off the team.
No,
she's not
Jordan
as good as Isaiah Thomas.
Everyone hated him.
Jordan, there's no Jordan on the team that has that power. I've never said that. I'm saying there is a possible world where we've seen jealousy in the WNBA that these women would be pissed off at the coverage of Caitlin Clark on their national team.
How many players hate Draymond Green?
I don't know. Is he going to be on the next Olympic team?
He's been on them, though. And he's not a teammate of LeBron's. Like, again, like I guess we take Jordan for his word that everyone else voted him off the island.
No, Jordan,
everyone else voted him off?
Jordan was the most vocal about it. He's admitted to that. But no one was fighting for Isaiah Thomas either. You know who else didn't fight for Isaiah Thomas?
There are millions
Chuck
fighting.
Daly.
Millions fighting
Chuck
for
Daly was
Caitlin
the coach
Clark.
of the team, and he was the Detroit Pistons head coach. And in the book Dream Team, they said two people were most responsible. Michael Jordan and Chuck Daly, who coached Isaiah Thomas and knew he'd be bad for the locker room with that group.
And I can't name you the new coach now, other the former Gino Auriemma. You know, like it makes sense that the popularity bug would catch heat or catch on.
And that's all I'm saying.
But there's different ways to grow the game other than ratings. If you grow the game internationally, which I think Dakich was getting at. Or if you want to mock the WNBA for being petty, like, you know, Barkley said, don't be like us. When you come back around and they actually do what you're asking them to, and the ratings and all the other things that they're going to push and the narratives they want to spin, be careful with how you respond to that one too. Because the ratings would go up. But then they wouldn't play her, and the ratings would go down because they're not going to play her. Then the whole thing is about that. It's not about jealousy as much as it is, why is she riding the pine again? Why is she on the bench again?
But for people that are just
You're only winning by 35 a game.
For people that are so eternally online about all these issues, you're never going to win with them anyways. Because if you play her, then it's, Caitlin Clark has saved United States basketball, even though they've won the last 6 gold medals or whatever it is. And then if suddenly the WNBA popularity is up, it's all because of Caitlin Clark. But then there's another side saying, well, watch the rest of the league, and the league is good. It's just this constant back and forth. So I just want people to watch the Olympics to root on America. That's a simple.
Yeah, and I will be.
A simple statement from me. I will be too.
I will be, and I'm thankful that the country that's the flag that's flying on the countries that we're in right now is saying that we've got the best team. And guess what? Maybe she ends up on the roster anyway, and we get all of this.
Could be.
She's an alternate, which tells me that they didn't leave her off just for
I want to give
anything
my
other
prediction
than
on that, though.
She didn't make the team.
I don't think she would do it, even if she was offered now. I think that she does have such a competitive fire in her that she's the type that would say, no, I'm good. I'll take the break since you didn't want me to begin with, and I'll prove you wrong over the next 4 years and be back.
Yeah, I think she wants the break, too.
Yeah, and that also.